Hey everybody, it's Stephanie. Welcome back to my channel. We are testing the Covergirl Simply Ageless Skin Perfector Essence. I'm probably the last in line to test this. I've been trying to get my hands on it. I finally found this at CVS yesterday. I've been trying to pick this up for a while. This is probably the most expensive drugstore foundation tint on the market right now. This retails for $21.49 at CVS, and then there is 1 fluid ounce or 30 milliliters. This retails at CVS for $21.49, but I did not pay that much for it, and I will tell you how in just a minute. I was in CVS yesterday and I needed to buy a very inexpensive item. And when I bought the very inexpensive item, it was like $3, I got a coupon for 40% off one full price item. And it spit out reward points for me, so I had another savings of like $1.50 or something. I got it for just over $12. Score! This foundation, it's identified as an essence on the bottle as well as a hydro fresh tint, but when you look it up on the website for Covergirl as well as Ulta or any other website, it identifies itself as a foundation. So who knows? I can tell you that it is buildable because I've tested it, which you're going to see here in a minute. But it claims that it hydrates for 24 hours and is suitable for all skin types, even dry and sensitive skin. This is a skincare plus makeup hybrid. It has something called tranexamic acid. Tranexamic, close enough. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's supposed to improve skin tone and appearance of existing dark spots, as well as an ingredient called bakuchiol, 0.5% bakuchiol. Bakuchiol is actually a plant-based product. It comes from a plant called bakuchi. I've never heard of this before. Pretty cool. But the clinical trials showed that results were as significant as retinol, but gentler on the skin. Now, bakuchiol, just as a note, apparently takes about 12 weeks of continuous use in order to see results. So there's that. But this contains 0.5% bakuchiol. It also contains 71% water. It is supposed to give a skin-like finish that plumps, refreshes, and helps your skin look more youthful. It comes in 8 shades. The shade that I picked up is shade number 30, light to medium. This is actually a little bit light for my skin tone. When I was in CVS yesterday, there was none on the shelf, but there happened to be somebody that was working in the store who was stocking the shelf at that point with Covergirl products, and I just happened to ask, and she had some in little boxes that she was getting ready to put out on the shelves. She only had 8 total, and this was thankfully close enough to my shade that I was able to pick it up. So I tried this on my face today for the first time. Let me know what you think. Yesterday, I applied this to the back of my hands when I got it. When I got in the car, I wanted to see how it worked. And I applied it to one hand and not the other hand, and there was a marked difference in the way the back of my hands looked. And I was impressed. But the back of my hands, the skin is much different than my face. I'm going to apply this on one side of my face, and I'm going to wait a few minutes and then come back and then take it from there. First of all, let me mention that the lighting that I was using to put my makeup on today is different than the lighting you just saw in my intro because my circumstances changed and whoa, I had better lighting. So I started with 1 pump, and the formula is a little bit runny, not terribly, but it's definitely not a thick formula. It has little beads, and I mixed it up with my fingers, and the beads sort of pop, and then it releases the tint. So I'm spreading it on the back of my hand here, and immediately just applied it to my face with my fingers without using a brush or a sponge. After using my fingers for a bit, I decided to use this e.l.f. damp sponge, beauty sponge, to shear it out. Not that it really needed to be sheared out, but just to spread it out a little bit better than what I was able to do with my fingers. And I think that using both in combination, my fingers initially and then the sponge, I think that worked best. Now I'm looking at both sides of my face, and I was wondering as I was recording if there was any difference at all. But looking at it now, as I edit, I can see where it definitely covered some darkness on my face. Okay, initial impressions. The way it feels on my skin. It doesn't feel tacky. When I touch it with my fingers, okay, it feels soft. My face feels soft, but the way my skin feels with it on my face doesn't feel moisturized. It feels a little, almost like it's pulling, like almost like it's drying. I can't, not dry, but definitely not a comfortable feeling of moisture on my face. My face itself is not feeling the moisture or that it's moisturized. I may just want to add a little more. So I added a full pump, and there is maybe a slight difference in the side of my face. Each side of my face, I can't really tell. It's also hard to tell in this light. I'm going to now add to the other side and see what happens if it evens it out or if it makes no difference at all. I should have added while I was speaking that my skin has been very dry, and putting anything on my face that has any sort of, whether it's foundation or tint or anything, just seems to soak right into my skin. So I can't blame that on the product, except for that it wasn't as hydrating as I had hoped. This side felt more hydrated. It could be because I used the sponge quicker than I did the other side of my face, this damp beauty sponge from e.l.f. That probably helped, with the hydration factor. I'm not 100% sure. The back of my hand sure looked good though. I wish my skin on my face was as easy to manage as the skin on my hands. Taking an initial look at this after the first pass to see how it's behaving on my skin. The good news, I'm not seeing it sitting or settling in fine lines. It hasn't been on that long, but we'll see. Decided to add another pump and build this up and see how it would look and how my skin reacted to it. Breaking it up with my fingers, of course, applying it to my face directly, and then I will further blend with a sponge. I think this is buildable. I'm not wearing any concealer right now. Bouncing it around. Feels a little bit sticky on my fingers. I don't know if that helps or not. I don't know. You guys, my lighting. I'm working on that. I'm working on lighting, and I'm working on camera. I'm working to get a better setup, a different software, so I can do a better job at this. Because even if I don't have all the fancy lighting and the fancy camera, that may give me less pretense, but it's not very helpful when you're trying to really demonstrate products because you can't really see. So to upgrade a little bit is not for filter, it's to give you a more realistic view of what's going on. Okay, Okay, this is buildable. It does not feel tacky on my skin. My skin is no longer sucking up moisture. So my skin has been literally, like anything I put on my face, just really, even as hydrated as I'm trying to stay. It feels very comfortable on my skin. Obviously, it's not full coverage, but you can build it. I like the way it feels. I think that if I were going to do a no makeup day, which is frankly quite often, I would use this probably just to give my face some lift, or just a little something. It's probably what I would do. So I'm going to come back and do a check-in at some point and see what it's doing in the areas of my face that give me the most trouble, which would be up here. Not because I'm expecting it to fix it or make it look better, but I want to see if it settles in there and makes it worse. Definitely don't want to do that. Now that I've done the base, I'm going to go ahead and apply some color, get some blush, and maybe a little lip gloss going, and maybe a little concealer, and see how it works with my other color products. But before we move on to that, let's talk about what I did before I applied the skin tint. I decided I wanted to try applying my eyeshadow with some tape to prevent not only fallout, but to get that nice clean line around the outer corner that I've seen. The problem is I didn't have any tape that is actually made for the skin around your delicate eye area. So I used medical tape. Medical tape, I mean, how hard can that be? It's, you shouldn't be allergic to it, I would think. Or it shouldn't be hard on your skin, I would think. But then again, I am not medical personnel, as you will find out absolutely 100%, if you have any doubt about that. In a moment, you will see that this was a grave error. So I'm just going to fast forward through my makeup application here on my eyes, and then we'll take the tape off, and you decide whether or not this was a good idea. Okay, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't be like me. Don't do this. You would think that if I was going to do an experiment, you would think that if I was going to do this experiment, that I would just limit it to the outer corner of my eye, but under my eyes. Again, I was trying to prevent fallout. It just grosses me out watching that. And guess what? I still had fallout all over the inner corner below my eyes. It was still a mess. I had to clean it up. And this clean crease thing that I did, it was red, and I had to use concealer to cover it. It was just, don't do it, okay? Let me be the fool in this scenario. So just FYI, it was a little experiment, and I should have known better. Yeah, go ahead with the comments. Try to be merciful. Some of you who are watching this without the sound on and cannot even hear my own self-deprecating comments, just saying. Okay, let's get back to our regularly scheduled programming. I'm going to combine the peach and the yellow concealer for under my eyes. That area was a little bit sore and a little tender, as you can imagine, so
This Stila palette came in handy because it's so creamy and so gentle, and it did a really good job covering up not only the dark circles but that irritated area from the medical tape.
Let's have a look at this essence and see what it's doing. Okay, in the last maybe 30-45 minutes since I've applied it, I did put some powder on my face. I'm not really sure. There seems to be a little more texture up here. But let's just see. Things might look a little dry or overdone initially, and then a little while later it seems like it's adjusted. My skin will adjust and just sort of calm things down. So I'm gonna wait for this to calm down a little bit and then check in and see how it looks.
This is the 3-hour check-in. It still looks pretty good. It doesn't look like it's really wearing off terribly. It doesn't look like it's settling. It doesn't look dry. So far, so good. This is the 6-hour check-in, and as you can see, it's come off quite a bit, especially around my nose, definitely under my eyes. There, it looks like there's just about nothing left there. I'm looking pretty tired. It's about 10 o'clock right now, so it doesn't look dry, but it did wear off, and it does look like it's settled in those fine lines and wrinkles, especially around my forehead. So it looks like it'll last for me under regular conditions about 3 to 4 hours. Hey, thanks for watching, but stay tuned.